Episode number 443. I just want to say thank you so much for rocking with your boy. And most importantly, I don't know if you guys know, but I do have 4 businesses that help me do what I do each day. The first one is our foundational business. That is Real-Time Outsource. That is realtimeoutsource.com. We can help you boost your digital presence in 7 days a week, folks. We're working with our clients for them on their behalf. So take advantage of our team and let your social media thrive in 2024. And that leads into my second business, which is realtimereputation.us. This is a business that I was sitting down with a customer. We were talking about their software that we could use to possibly power his reviews. And so we did eventually white labeled and now have our own software to help you power your business and get more customer feedback and online reviews 24 hours a day. Easy with an email list or a phone list. Realtimereputation.us. Take advantage of it, folks. And my next businesses are my passion projects. They are my loves, and I want to see them thrive and grow this year. I love podcasts. That's ILUV podcast.com. This is our podcast agency where we can help you get your voice in front of the right people. We're using audience strategies, booking services, our podcast marketing services, and our podcast review strategies. We can not only help you get your podcast to that next level, but also help you get booked on 3, 5, 8 shows every single month and making it easy for you to focus on what you do and help us take our network and extend out your voice to them. And my last one, which is my favorite and my baby, and that is dreamsportscars.com. Dreamsportscars.com. What do you dream about? And we have searched the most craziest cars across the globe, from baseball, basketball, Pokemon, wrestling, UFC, and the list goes on. We're also on Whatnot Daily. That is dreamsportscars.com. We have on eBay and Whatnot Daily with 3 shows a day. And most importantly, I hope you guys are having a great day. And thank you.
In a bear market, you have to think about profitability first over growth. It's not necessarily about those technological breakthroughs so much as it is like building sustainable companies that are profitable so that when the next bull market does come, you're prepared for that growth.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I hope you guys are fired up, ready to get some fuego in your days, nights, weekends, or whenever you are listening to the show today, because thank God the podcast, you can listen to whenever you want, wherever you want, and on your time, which is beautiful. But after this, I think you're going to want to think about the next generation. We've always talked about this, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, the next generations. And I'm bringing you an expert, not only an entrepreneur, but also a writer and a founder of several businesses in this mindset, in this mojo, Mr. Milan Kordestani. Milan, are you ready to be real today?
I'm so ready to be real. Thank you for having me, Travis.
It is my pleasure, my dude. So before we get into the books, into the businesses and things like that, when you were a kid, were you always into like selling things, starting businesses, talking to people? I feel like that's the start of entrepreneurship. Were you always into that?
I was always into it. I was 13 years old and I was breeding and selling turtles across the country.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Talk about that first business. So when you were doing that, was it like on an eBay platform, or how are you making that marketplace happen? Was it on your own website?
Yeah. So it was basically finding people on YouTube. It was all on my own. It was just me running this. I would find people on YouTube and who were either turtle enthusiasts or like had aquariums or terrariums, whatever they were building, and they were trying to create YouTube channels off of. I would go and say, hey, I have rare turtles that will make your channel way more interesting to people, like albino turtles, leucistic albino turtles. Turtles with like clown, they call them clown turtles because they're really brightly colored shells. So yeah, all of these different morphs of turtles I was breeding and selling, and it was a pretty wild time. It was just like me, PayPal, and YouTube, and then FedEx would ship reptiles, which was pretty crazy.
How fast could they ship them? Do you have a certain timeline to ship a reptile?
and you ship them with, depending on where they're going, either with heat, generally not with ice unless they're going somewhere really hot like Texas in the summer. But yeah, you ship them with like a little heat pack and, you know, holes in the box this way up, live reptile inside, and that's it.
They know how to do their thing.
You know how to do it.
And they're obviously very resilient. So that's amazing. You're only 13 though, folks, doing this. This is a very tactical business method in that you had people that were trying to do YouTube, trying to make their, you know, the turtles, like, we obviously know now, tons of content creators out there. Yeah. And you knew you had the kind of hot sauce that would help them not only get the more views, but let's just be real, another customer, because you had the product that they want. And then instead of, you know, out there doing Google ads and out there doing a bunch of random searches on the internet, trying to force your message, you went out very, like I would say, a sniper, very strategically to, you know, go out and get your method done, which is the most cost-efficient, best way that any 13-year-old in the world could do on this planet today, you know, with no money, basically, you know, just your time and a very resourceful mind. What gave you that, bro? Were you just you just did that on your own?
Well, so I was 13. I wanted a pet turtle. Just like that was, I think that's somewhat normal. Like 13-year-old boy wants a reptile, and so I got a normal pet turtle from Petco, and then I started trying to make content with that turtle on YouTube. Like I was trying to be a turtle content creator.
Right.
People did not like my turtle content very much because it was like, you know, the voice of a 13-year-old boy, like narrating turtle videos off of my phone. And it just like didn't do well. And so eventually I started finding the people that were doing really well in the community. And I was like, what if I sold my turtles to them? And so that's how it kind of came to be. It was like, all right, I can make money doing this and I don't have to necessarily have a chat. And so I kind of learned very quickly, like how to pretend to be an adult and like conduct these conversations and sales without ever having to like get on a phone call, just using WhatsApp or email or whatever it was. And yeah, I mean, I was very reliable. I never had a turtle die in the shipping process. So everyone was,
they're happy.
Sort of a good customer base. And yeah.
How many outreaches were you doing a day? Because I think people always get concerned with, okay, you know, you have a hot show, you have whatever your product is, and you can do the same tactic my dude Milan was doing back when he was 13. Today, it's a little bit more cluttered, a little bit harder to reach some of these people, maybe a little easier to reach them back, you know, when you were 13 than it is today because everyone's, you know, bombarded. But same tactics still exists. Let's be real. Same tactics still exists. Was it a certain amount per day? Did you just go all at once or?
So at the time, okay, so the market for this, what I was selling was definitely easier. There weren't like a lot of big turtle breeders that were. And so it was a little bit easier. I could like hit up maybe 10, 15 people and usually get responses from 4 people and maybe one to a sale.
Right.
Now I imagine if I went back into it, it'd be like send 100 out a day. Now you can generate 100 different custom messages using like ChatGPT and send those out and then, you know, follow up on those. And it's a little bit, there's more automation now to the process, but cold outreach has not changed. It is the same and it will remain the same. And it is still highly, highly effective. The biggest breaks I've gotten are people that I've reached out to that I thought were just take the time of day to talk to me. And I sent them a message or a second message even. And then they eventually follow up and they're like, hey, sorry, I missed the first one. I was busy. Let's make time to talk.
Right.
And then all of a sudden a whole new world of opportunity opens to you.
And it's something so simple that everyone can do, but that, you know, it's the fear of rejection and there's many things that come into it. But let's be real. How hard is it to really do? It's not that hard. It just takes you actually wanting to do this. You now have ChatGPT that can help you write these. You now have other automation tools, but it still takes that fear of rejection, that kind of fear process. But it's like anything. You knock on 100 doors, you get a few people to say, have a conversation with you, and it opens up a world of opportunities, you know, and you learn from those 90 people that didn't open. Most of the time, the reason why people don't open the door, it's always the time, or they already have a certain provider, or they're busy as hell right there. You know, they just don't have the time to talk to you, you know? So if you catch them in that other window, like you with the follow-up, hey, I was busy, but I was just randomly checking it while I was in Hawaii. Hey, I see your message now. You know, I didn't see that first one, but now I see this one. So, you know, there's a certain point where it's kind of annoying. Let's be real. You get hit up 100 times from the same person, you know, daily about something you don't care about. That's annoying. But I think, like, you know, someone doesn't hit you back, you hit them up in a few weeks or a month. Right. Not a bad idea. You know what I mean? As long as it's not in a intrusive manner where they're going to just block you and say, get this guy out of my life, get this girl out of my life. you have to sometimes follow up. These people are busy. Yeah. Let's be real. We all are busy. I miss people's notifications and things all the time. And I'm not anywhere near what some of these people are in the world, you know? And so you see it all the time.
Oh, like you never know why someone is going to respond to you at a later point in time either. And that's why you have to like leave the chance for that to happen. Because sometimes you, like you said, you hit someone up and they're busy and they don't respond and and you don't even know this happened. They might have opened your message. They might have stalked you for a whole 2 to 5 minutes and then decided for one reason or another, no, not right now, not today.
Right.
And you might in like 2 to 3 weeks, a month, make a little bit more traction, get your first customer, maybe your second customer, have a new website up, a new Instagram page, whatever.
Right.
That by the time you send that and they see it and they click on you again, they're like, this person's come a little bit further along. I should hop on this train before it takes off. And that's ultimately what most people, you know, when you're sending a cold message to them, why they want to respond is because they're like, this is an opportunity for me as well. Like, I want to be a part of this success story. I want to be a part of this person's journey, you know, for one reason or another. And so you have to
not just a one-way street, not just, hey, I want you to basically, you know, use all your hard work to get me famous or get me reach or get me attention on my product, but you want it to be something where they obviously see value. I was listening to one of my other past guests on I interviewed both these people, Tom Bilyeu and Cody Sanchez. Cody's all about buying businesses. Tom Bilyeu, Quest Nutrition. But they have a podcast together. I was just listening to it this morning while I was doing some other stuff for the sports car business. And it's fascinating because basically she's talking about the whole thing that you're talking about too. Just a bit. People are busy. They miss things, and don't be not afraid to just reach out again. And so many things you can do with sweat equity that we forget. Even buying businesses, many businesses out there will sell you their own business with seller financing, and then you can go buy their business, use the company's profits, and use their essentially revenue to then pay them back. So you're not even having to use your own revenue. I mean, let's be real. Financing money is expensive now. It was cheap a few years ago. It got expensive all of a sudden. So you can't do the same things you could do 2 years ago. So seller financing is just another creative way to talk with a business owner that's willing to leave their business. Because she said most businesses are willing to sell if the right price and the right terms. Like they're willing to basically sell if there's the right price and the right terms. If they don't match those, about 40% of them will never want to sell, but 60% of 100% of businesses want to sell, just right price, right terms, And so it's fascinating. Something so simple in buying businesses, but let's be real. It's the same thing what she's dealing with, outreach to businesses, and these people are busy, and you just can't leave these things on the table. So talk to me about how you, Milan, took the turtle business into the next business, the big business, or how this position and transition in your life where you're writing books and doing so many things now with this.
Yeah. So I started interested in the turtles. It turned into a business because I wanted to make money and I saw the gap in the market and it just made sense for me. And that in general, like kind of catapulted me into agriculture and an interest in agriculture. I started raising chickens in the backyard, growing saffron. My customers were Iranian Americans. And so saffron is the main spice they use in cooking.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Saffron.
Right.
Just doing, what you can as a kid, what your market is. Like mine was, like the community of Iranian immigrants.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did that. And that got me my first big gig, which came from cold outreach again, which was as a writer. I started writing articles about the agriculture industry. A lot of them went on Medium, but some of the best ones I would pitch to different publications.
Gotcha.
And the first publication that I ever pitched to hundreds, but the one that I first got a yes from was Ariana Huffington from the Huffington
Let's go.
Post. And so that was in 2016, maybe, and 2015, 16.
Right.
And so that was before the Huffington Post had really become this like global news, like,
that was when she's just getting started with it all, almost in a way. Yeah. I remember that time. I remember
he would let a 15-year-old.
Right.
Early it was.
Right.
So, I started doing that for a while, and that gave me confidence as a writer, and it kind of got me into writing for several different publications as I kept going. I ended up building different startups, and one in the music industry, and
really,
and I got to Rolling Stone. I wrote for I write for Entrepreneur now about the different tech companies I've built. On a startup incubator, a venture studio. So I invest in startups and I incubate them. I bring together co-founding teams, and that's
Freaking
called
amazing.
Ankord.
What's it called? Ankord Labs?
Ankord Labs.
Ankord Labs.
I mean, these RD. Yeah.
Right. And we'll put that in the show notes too. I'll make sure that's in the show notes. I've even noticed it's crazy. Like on Zoom now, you have the option to have AI basically as an assistant take all the notes of our conversation and meeting.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating. Yeah, like and so on the back end, we could literally have all our conversation, like it literally has it all typed up if we wanted that. I just saw it recently pop up with the new update. It's fascinating, but the business you're doing now is how these ChatGPT comes up, right? This is how these incredible companies and startups come to fruition with the amount of founders and startup kind of all working together. Using your capital, we know that is a little bit scary. Obviously, during these times, you want to be wise with your capital. Let's be real. Not everyone's just like, hey, let's fund everything. You know, like it was during the 2 year ago NFTs and I've been in crypto since 2016, and you had the ICO, which was the basically me and you come up with a crypto and then tell everybody, hey, send your Bitcoin to my address, and we're gonna change the world with crypto. And then we just take your money and go to a different country or whatever. It was an interesting time. I remember, hearing about it. And then obviously we've seen so many different things since then and from then, beyond, the Sam Bankman-Fried and many things. It's not negative, but the crazy thing with crypto is the price has still gone up, and people always look negatively on it. But the price has still gone up. You just had to hold, be willing to take the pain. And it's the same thing with business today. It's going to be the same thing. There's going to be people that are going to go out of business, fortunately, but there's going to be a lot of businesses that get tons stronger using AI and using so many different things that we didn't have 5 years ago, 10 years ago to count on to help us make it more productive and make maybe even the business a little leaner, but basically allow it to flourish instead of just always needing people. I need a new person. No, you don't. You just need to learn how to use ChatGPT better, or learn how to use some AI tools a little better to make the teams better in general. But talk to me first before we get into our top 10. Right now, the millennial, the next gen, it seems like we've had, I'm on 41. I'm 41 years old. I'm on the end of whatever spectrum you want to call to the younger kids, obviously. But I've seen a lot. I came onto the internet. I've seen a lot. We saw the Great Recession, 2008, 2009 financial crisis. I learned a lot about money during that too. What it can teach you. You saw some families get crushed and things. It's taught us a lot. Now we've gone through COVID and we've gone through a few things. And it hasn't been easier for some of them as far as in the job market, as far as it's gotten more competitive and you have kind of a gig economy. But all that said, there's billionaires that are 25, there's people succeeding selling turtles at 13. There's people crushing it on Whatnot that are 18 years old and making $50 million a year, selling things and reselling things on Whatnot. There's no excuse basically now though, so that's the thing is, like, you have this crazy, it's like the music business. Anyone can publish music, right? Like we all can go publish on Spotify, but are you going to be the guy? You still can do it. And you still can do it, but you might not be Post Malone, but you still can do it. And you still can have your own success in your own way. So that leaves you no excuse, just like a podcast, to not push that button, record, publish your music, but it's harder for them. So do you feel like it's a hard market right now for that millennial?
Do I feel like it's what? Sorry,
like a hard climate for them to kind of understand their purpose, understand what they want to do in life, I
actually think that the climate made for the entrepreneur, right? Like the person who wants to own what they build or wants to build something from scratch and does. I actually think that it didn't necessarily make it harder. It just changed the circumstances for why you're going to build. Like in a bull market, you can build for the sake of building and just get finances because you're like, I want to increase the speed of this industry. I have this idea for what a world could look like or a product could look like, and I want to go out and build that. In this market, it's like you have to come and say, I have customers who have a problem, who are willing to pay me to solve this problem that they have. Right. And that's the big thing. It's like you in a bear market, you have to think about profitability first over growth. And so it's not like, let me try to build something super fast and try to make
scale and just go gangbusters
throughs that are that happen a lot more in bull markets. It's not necessarily about those technological breakthroughs so much as it is like building sustainable companies that are profitable so that when the next bull market does come, you're prepared for that growth.
Right.
You have customers, you have a reason for existing.
Right.
And I think that's also what a lot of young entrepreneurs miss, and I myself as well, in easier past, because it was just finding my audience through YouTube and recognizing there was a market for it that way. But I think a lot of young entrepreneurs in general are like, wow, it's so easy to build an app now. It's so easy to build a company. Let me just go build a company and then a technology and then hope that the customers will come. And that just doesn't work, especially not in a market where everyone is really tight with how they spend their money and customers are really. So it really has to start with talking to people. Like Cody Sanchez, I think it does a good job of describing that problem. It's like, you have to find customers, you have to find the problem. And then, like that deal that you make, whether it's acquiring a company or building one, it's got to like benefit everyone. And sometimes if it doesn't, that's your flag to be like, this isn't a business I want to be in.
Right.
So that's what I would say about the change in the tide.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always been there, but like you said, the money's been flowing around like it's like it's Christmas on every day for everybody. And now the truth is you got to go back to what the 13-year-old mindset of my guy Milan, and that basically you have to be tactile, find customers, take that profit, reinvest it, buy more turtles, reinvest it, get a website, get people, and then basically just kind of like do it within what I always believe is always the best business was even, kind of before the craziness, even in my business in life was, I'd always tell the kids, hey, the best business is bootstrap. Means you just listen to people, find out what they need, and then you're the guy, you're the candy guy. I know my buddy's friend, he asks all his friends, what's their favorite snacks? And he always has the favorite snacks for the kids at school. So he's always just asking people what shit they like, picking that stuff up, reinvesting his money. And if you use that small technique, he's not going to build a snack empire because he's going to go out of school and then he's going to graduate. His customer base is going to leave. But that technique, he's going to have maybe a fat stack of cash, right? Or a lot of experience in rejection and asking people questions. And like Cody says, like that's basically how you get anyone in the whole world to talk to you is basically asking questions. That's how I've got Tom Billy, Cody Sanchez, and my guy Milan on the show. He would want to talk to me if we were having a podcast, a show where we're asking questions, we're getting into your mind, and then it's amplified. It gets out there to people. People find value in it. They listen to it, they download it, and then we do it again. And the cool thing, Milan, which I love, is that once we publish that and we push that, publish to the world, it's out there forever, man. Which is cool. It sticks out there for the generations, the binge watch community that might listen to this in 10 years that just come onto the show and finally listen to the show, or someone to just listen today. That's the thing I love. Now, my man, we're about to get to in the top 10 before we roll. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Apple. Netflix or YouTube?
YouTube.
YouTube. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Chicken, steak, or like an alternative meal if you're thinking about a good meal for yourself.
Chicken steak. Oh, wait, is it chicken or steak?
Yeah, chicken or steak or alternative, because I know everyone does.
Yeah, good question. I think steak.
Steak. Let's go. What would be your favorite cut of steak if you could have a great meal today? Right now, you're sitting down with your idol.
Idol. It's probably a ribeye. If I'm home, it's a skirt steak.
Nice. There we go. I like that. Laptop or smartphone if you had to get out of the door right now?
Laptop.
Spotify or Pandora for music and content?
Spotify.
Do you think that Spotify will eventually become YouTube?
Will what? Sorry, you cut out.
Do you think Spotify might eventually become YouTube?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I think Spotify will be a competitor of YouTube.
Yeah.
But I think YouTube is really doing a good job with their studio and the tools that they offer for creators and so on. And Spotify is getting there, but not yet there.
Right. I absolutely agree. YouTube is the GOAT, right? It's like YouTube is the GOAT, but Spotify has just the option to maybe all of a sudden all the creators turn on video. Yep. And then, it's just another place, because if you're on Spotify and you're there right there, it's just another destination. It makes it easy, put the bandwidth, the video. And like you said, it's going to be a while till they completely compete. They're not going to compete, but they'll be a competitor.
my personal take is where we're going into for the creator economy is like the way in the music industry you make a song and you can click one button and it instantly distributes to Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, like everywhere that you consume music, Amazon Music and so on.
Right.
Is we're going to for the creator economy where you create a podcast
Yes.
or an article and you can convert that to every format: audio on Spotify, visuals on
Dude.
YouTube, shorts, TikTok, Instagram, and all of
Right.
that in one click.
Dude.
So I think we're getting there. And then you're going to collect royalties from wherever the people want to consume their content.
Right.
Some people prefer visual, some people prefer audio, some people prefer static pictures, like whatever it is, whatever the platform that someone out on, you should exist in their favorite content format.
Yeah, like TuneCore for content, basically, right? Like TuneCore, I remember they were like one of the first ones you could publish music, track all your royalties, track everything.
TuneCore for all content.
TuneCore for content. Let's go. I love that idea. That's coming soon, Milan, from you, I think. Movies and video games, if you're planning to just hang out.
Oh, probably playing on a Switch, and I'm probably playing Smash Bros.
Let's go, Smash Bros. Reading books or listening to books?
Listening to books.
Listening to books. Stocks or real estate?
Stocks.
Stocks. More liquid. I love just being able to sell something. Yeah. Real estate, hard to sell. I mean, long process, a lot of ins and outs. Oceans or lakes if you're going to go on a vacation today?
Sorry, cut out again. What was that?
I'm sorry about that, dude. I think the Zoom. Let's go. Oceans or lakes if you're thinking about a good vacation?
Ooh. I think an ocean.
Let's go to an ocean. What ocean would you go to right now?
Which ocean would I go to right now? I'd probably go to because I live on the West Coast and it is a cold ocean in the Pacific.
Oh, hell yeah, it's cold. Oh, yes, it is, sir. Well, it's a whole different vibe on the West Coast ocean than it is on the like the Atlantic, those beautiful ocean beaches where you can see almost all the way to the bottom of the ocean. It's incredible. Yeah. When you're waking up for your morning, Milan, getting ready, pumped, energized for the day, why do you love being you?
Sorry, you cut out again. Why do I what?
Why do you love being you, brother? Why do you love being you, Mr. Milan?
That's a great question. I love being me because there is only one me. Like the eclecticness of me, from turtles to tech, that's me. That's the story of me. And I've never met someone else that has that.
Incredible, bro.
Stories, and I get to be me authentically in different places, and I hopefully succeed in different ways in the world. It shows other people who are eclectic in the same ways that they get to have a similar path. They get to be weird and make it to some dream, or they don't have to know what the dream is yet, and they can just start and do and figure it out and get there. And so that's what I love about.
I love that, bro. That's the best thing that's one of the best answers I've ever heard for that one. Do you think you'll ever retire from this business of entrepreneurship, funding businesses, venture, learning, tech?
I hope that when I have kids someday, I can be very present and not have to be like traveling all the time and super like working 40 hours a week type.
Right.
Or be able to pull other people up. And so investing in startups is what I want to be able to do for a lifetime, even if I'm not, in the weeds every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely, dude. As a dad myself, I'll tell you will be an incredible father. And to have the ability and blessing to be able to do that, man, it's lean into that every day you can, man. I try to do that. I'm at the final stage. My daughter's about to be going to school next year. So we're getting close to getting my time back, but I've literally sacrificed my businesses, my life, my everything, because I know that I won't get that time ever back with them. And I can always make it back more in 5 more years. Do you have a favorite app or a tool that helps you run the business?
Notion is how I run my life in my brain. The businesses, I generally run them on ClickUp.
ClickUp, really?
Yeah, it's a little bit more formatted. It's nicer for people that don't need like all the flexibility of Notion. But as a creator, Notion for sure, and just like independent thought management, ideas, task management, I use Notion.
Notion, that's a cool one. I've not heard about. I have not used that tool. That's awesome. I'm gonna always love learning new tools from successful folks like yourself. If you could sit down today to a ribeye dinner with anyone in the world, who are you gonna chop it up with today? They're coming to you in LA.
Oh wow. I would love to sit down with. That's a hard one. Anyone I could probably Oprah.
Oh, that'd be insane. That would be
Dead
insane.
or alive, actually, it would probably be Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, let's go.
But
Why would it
if
be Mr. Rogers to you? Because I always love Mr. Rogers too.
I want to understand like the thought process of this man to show up the way he did every day in the world, and especially to talk about in today where there's so much divisiveness on social media and there's so much like an ability to be reactionary, how like the man would respond to that, you know, and how would he even want to show up in those ways online?
Right.
And, I think
he didn't have to deal with that. He didn't have to deal with the backlash of social media and things like that. That's interesting because you're right. I mean, he had to put this positive mindset no matter what was going on and create a world that basically existed, which was mostly like a positive TV show, which you don't really see a lot. They want the controversy and the negativity, and and you don't see it just being kind of all positive, you know?
Well, and the other part of his show is it came at a time where there wasn't social media, so no one could respond to it instantly. It was always just like talk about how good it was or whatever, but it wasn't in an age where the second you put out content, you get instant feedback to it. And so I think there would be a lot of wisdom he could impart from, you know, a conversation about like being a creator in today's world from one side of it, and then the other just like what you know, even in the times that he did live in, like how he maintained his sense about it all, because I imagine even then it couldn't have been easy.
And they always say the most positive people have the most downside because they're just giving their soul, their life away. I even know that myself too, because I always sometimes think of that myself. And people like Robin Williams, some of the people that made us laugh that we love the most are, you know, hurt the most inside because they're just giving. And so we just wish those kind of folks a little love and a little kindness, and how much we care about them, how much we want them to be here for another day. And how life is beautiful, man. So we thank them for all they give to us out there in the world. What is the best place for people to find you? More about you, about the business. I was checking it out earlier, but I think I know what it is, but I want you to plug it as well.
It's on Instagram. Find me on Instagram at Milan Kordestani. I'm at Milan Kordestani on every channel. That's even my website, milankordestani.com. But Instagram, if you want to connect with me, send me a message.
Let's go! And on your website too, you have like stuff around investments, around the garden, so many cool things that you bring into your life that, you know, makes you unique, which I always say is the most important thing about, you know, your story is that it's, like you said, there's no one else but you. So lean into that. And I love that you do, my dude. I wish you had tons of more success than you obviously having. Next journey for you, my brother, being a dad, being a pop entrepreneur, figuring out how to manage that. It's only going to get, it gets a little bit more challenging. But I'll tell you this, the blessings and the outcome are better than, you know, your biggest startup, you know? So know that, you know, that is one of the coolest things to say, even though in the trenches, in the grind and cleaning butts, it's not as easy, but know that is the coolest thing, and that you are well prepared, my dude, for anything that comes your way. And thank you so much for coming on the show today, folks. You've been hanging out with Milan Kordestani and Travis Too Tall and Huff. We want to thank you again for your time, and let's keep being real. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.